Okay. Good afternoon. In this class, we will discuss a topic from physical chemistry, that is a solid state. Listen carefully. This is a very interesting topic. Solid state. Solid state. Last year, means in first year already we studied the topic from physical chemistry part, that is states of matter. We know matter exists mainly in three states. What are those? Solid, liquid and gas. Okay. And even we know that the state of matter depends on two main opposing forces. What are those two opposing forces? One is intermolecular attraction. Is it right? And second one is thermal energy. These two forces, they determine the state of matter. Means, listen carefully, always intermolecular attraction, they try to keep the two constituent particles close to each other. Is it right or not? Intermolecular attraction, what they will do? They try to keep the two constituent particles close to each other, whereas thermal energy, what thermal energy does? When you supply heat to any substance, what will happen? The constituent particle, they move away from each other. Means, what thermal energy does? Thermal energy, it tries to keep the constituent particles away from each other. Then there is a competition between these two forces. But now in this class we are concentrating on solid state. We will see which of these two forces is dominate in case of solid. Listen, we know that in solid the constituent particles are having very strong intermolecular attraction. Means they are having very short intermolecular distance. From this it is clear that in solid state, listen carefully, in solid state actually what happens? Intermolecular attraction predominates over thermal energy. Means in any substance, if intermolecular attractions are very strong compared to thermal energy, that substance exists as a water, solid. Okay, understood? Now we will study few characteristic features of solid state. Characteristics of solid. First character. I'm sorry. First one is, these are having strong intermolecular forces. Understood? In case of solid, intermolecular forces are very strong. Second one, these are having very short intermolecular distance. These are having very short intermolecular distance. Third one is the position of the position of constituent particles is fixed. Listen carefully. First, first character, that is, they are having what? Solids are having strong intermolecular attractions. Due to strong intermolecular attraction only, the particles held very strongly. And in case 2, these are having very short intermolecular distance, means attraction is more, means what? Distance becomes less. If attraction is very high, the distance between two constituent particles becomes very short. Okay, now over here, listen carefully, this third character is very important. The position of constituent particles is fixed. Yes, in the case of solids, always the constituent particles are present at fixed position. They won't change their positions, as in case of liquid and gases. Liquid and gases, they are having tendency to flow. That's why they are called as what? Fluids. Because in case of liquid and gases, actually what happens, the constituent particles, they change their positions. That's why they are having fluid nature, means moving nature. But in case of solids, the particles will not move, that you know. In case of the solids, the constituent particles are having what? Fixed position. But the fourth character of solid is very important. The constituent particles vibrate about their mean position. Vibrate about their mean position. Vibrate about their mean position. Listen carefully. Over here, in case of solid state, the constituent particles vibrate about their mean position. Yes, they just undergo vibration about their mean position, but they won't displace from the position. Just they vibrate, they undergo vibration at the same position. This is what fourth character. And fifth character is a very interesting character. These are having definite shape, mass. These are having what? Definite shape, mass and volume. These are fixed. These are what? Fixed in case of solids. What is the fifth character? Solids are having what? Definite shape, mass and volume. Sixth one is solids are rigid. Solids are rigid, incompressible. They are incompressible. Means you cannot compress the solids like gases. Gases are highly water compressible. You can compress a gas into very small volume, and you can expand. Even gas undergo what? Expansion also. Volume of gas changes. But over here, solids are incompressible in nature, and they possess what? High density. They possess high density. They possess what? High density. You know, density is nothing but what? Mass divided by volume. Mass divided by volume. Always if you compare two substances, one is a solid, other one is a gas, always solids are having what? High mass. If mass is more, density is more, because density is directly proportional to what? Mass. Solids are having high mass compared to liquid and gases. That's why solids possess what? High density. This is regarding the introduction part, that is characteristics of solid. Now we will go to the main part of this topic, that is classification of solids. 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 Listen, how to classify solids. Listen, classification of solids, that is based on arrangement of constituent particles. Arrangement of constituent particles. Arrangement of constituent particles. ಕೇಳ್ರಿ, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಾರ್ದು, ಆದರೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ. ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಘನ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾವ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ? ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಯೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್, ಅದರ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಘನ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ arrangement of constituent particles also we can classify solids into mainly two types. I will give you an example. If you take first example as a sodium chloride, very simple example, sodium chloride you take and rubber you take, both are solids. Sodium chloride is also solid, rubber is also solid. But what is the difference between sodium chloride and rubber? If you observe, sodium chloride exists as a crystal. It exists in the form of what? Crystal. Whereas rubber exists in different forms. Means I can't say exactly the shape of the rubber. Means based on this, that difference is because of what? Difference in the arrangement of the constituent particles. Hence, based on this we can classify into two types. One is a crystalline solid, another one is amorphous solids. What do you mean by crystalline solid? What are amorphous solids? Listen, what we will do, we will study these two solids with their differences. Okay, listen carefully. In case of crystalline solids, if you observe crystalline solids, in crystalline solids there is a order in the arrangement of constituent particles. Listen, in case of crystalline solids, there is an order in the arrangement of constituent particles. Hence they are having definite geometry. They are having what? Definite geometry. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಣುಗಳು ಹೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒತ್ತೊತ್ತಾಗಿ ಜೋಡಿಸಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನಂತೀವಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಕ್ಕೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಸೇಪ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಒಂದು ಜಾಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ amorphous solid, I give an example of rubber. Rubber is a amorphous solid, where actually what happens, there is a no order in the arrangement of constituent particles. there is a no order in the arrangement of constituent particles in case of amorphous solids. Hence, if there is a no order in the arrangement, hence they are having irregular shape. Irregular shape means I can't say the definite geometry or definite shape of this amorphous solid. This is the first difference. Their definition itself is a first difference. What are crystalline solids? There is order in the arrangement of constituent particles, hence they possess what? Definite geometry, means definite shape is there over here. But amorphous solids, if you take, no order in the arrangement of what? Constituent particles, hence they are having irregular shape. This is the first difference between crystalline and amorphous solid. The second difference is, if you observe, the second difference is, listen carefully, over here, these are having both long range and short range order. These are having what? Both long range and short range order. That is periodic repetition of constituent particles over entire crystal, means I told you I will draw a small diagram over here. Listen, I will rub this first difference, okay, to make you more understand the second difference. What I will do, I will draw a diagram over here so that you can understand properly. If you take, in case of okay, if you, what is the second difference? These are having what? Both long range and short range order. That is periodic repetition of constituent particles over entire crystal. Now, if you start moving from here, at the same distance you will come across one particle. If you move over here, at the same distance you will come across one particle. If you move like this throughout over entire crystal, there is a periodic repetition, means at a same distance you will come across what? A particle. Over here there is a order in the arrangement. But in case of this amorphous solids, actually what happens, the difference is, these are having only short range order. That is periodic repetition of constituent constituent particles in short range only, to a short distance. Over a short distance means if you move longer distance, you won't find what? You won't find a regularity, means order in the arrangement of particles. For example, you can okay, now you observe, if you move over a only short distance, you will find order. But if you move over here, the distance is either less or larger. Over here, if you see, this is the larger. Over here, again, smaller, larger. Like this, in case of amorphous solids, these are having what? Only short range order, means to a short distance you will find order. But if you move longer distance throughout the solid, you won't find what? Order in the arrangement of constituent particles. This is a very important difference. Okay. Now, third difference between crystalline and amorphous solid is these are anisotropic. These are isotropic. These are what? Isotropic. What do you mean by isotropy and anisotropy? What is isotropy and anisotropy? Listen carefully. What I told you, crystalline solids are having what? Order in the arrangement of constituent particles. Now if you take any crystal, you will find order. For example, what I will take any ionic compound. You know, ionic compounds contain what? Ions. If you observe the order in case of ionic compounds, for example, in case of ionic compounds, you will find plus, minus means cation, anion, cation, anion, cation, anion, like this. Over here there is a order in the arrangement of water, constituent particles in case of ionic solids. Listen carefully, they are anisotropic. What is anisotropy? When, listen carefully, if I move like this, if you travel like this, you will come across only one type of particles, positive, 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 negative, negative, negative. Okay, but if you travel like this, you will come across negative, positive, negative, positive. Over here, how many negative ions are there? 2. Positive ions? 2. Over here, how many positive ions are there? 3. Negative ions are 4. Means, what is anisotropy? Listen carefully. Anisotropy is nothing but the values of physical properties. Listen carefully, the values of physical properties are different when measured along different directions. Why? Because if you measure any physical property, like for example refractive index, if you calculate what refractive index or conductivity, if you measure these physical properties, they are having different values in different directions. Why? Because values are different, because over here in this direction if you move, the nature of particle is different as that of this direction. Both the directions you will come across what? Different type of particles. Hence, the properties are also, the values of physical properties are also different. Okay. If you take, these are isotropic. Isotropic means, I told you, there is no arrangement, there is no order in the arrangement of constituent particles. You know that in case of amorphous solids, if you move in any direction, either you move like this or you move like this, in any direction you move, you will come across what? Same type of particle. You will come across same type of particle. Hence, the values of physical properties also remains what? Same. Understood? Listen carefully. What is anisotropy? When physical properties are measured along different directions, the values are different. That is what anisotropy. What is isotropic? When the values of physical properties like refractive index, conductivity are measured along different direction, the value is same. That is what? Isotropy. Over here, why the values of physical properties are different? Because there is a change in number as well as the nature of particles. Nature is also changed, number is also changed. But in this case, both nature, number, both are same. Hence, you will have a same value for a physical property in a different directions. But over here, different value for a physical property when measured along different directions. Understood? This is a very important. This question may be asked in 1 mark. Okay. What is anisotropy? Question is like, what is anisotropy? This is the third difference. Fourth difference is when these crystalline solids are, listen, what is fourth difference? When crystalline solids are cut using sharp edged tool. If you cut this one, if you cut crystalline solids using sharp edged tool, when cut using sharp edged tool, smooth and even surfaces are obtained. Smooth and regular or even surfaces are obtained. Means if you cut this one using sharp edged tool, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಮನುಷ್ಯದ ವಸ್ತುವಿನಿಂದ ಇದನ್ನು ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಕತ್ರಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಸ್ಮೂತ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮತ್ತು ಇವನ್ ಆದಂಥ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾಕತ್ರಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅಮಾರ್ಫಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ. when cut using sharp edged tool, when cut using sharp edged tool, irregular and rough surfaces are obtained. Rough surfaces are obtained. Listen carefully. What is the difference? When cut using a sharp edged tool, smooth and even surfaces are obtained. When cut using a sharp edged tool, irregular and rough surfaces are obtained in case of amorphous solids. Okay, this is the fourth difference. Fifth difference is these are having sharp melting point. Means NaCl melts at, for example, 1081 degrees Celsius. Means exactly at 1081 degrees Celsius, sodium chloride completely melts at this temperature only. But over here there is no sharp melting point. These melt over These melt over range of temperature. Means if you melt rubber or if you take any plastic, plastic is also amorphous solid, okay. If you take plastic, if plastic starts melting at 80 degrees Celsius, this temperature to completely melt that plastic, this temperature may go up to 81 degrees Celsius. Later it may melt at 82 degrees Celsius. Means what happens over here in case of this, there is no sharp melting point. Means they cannot melt at single temperature. Understood? Okay. This is what fifth difference. Sixth difference is these are true solids. These are true solids. These are true solids. ಇವು ನಿಜವಾದಂಥ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಗಳು. These are pseudo solids. Pseudo solids. These are what? Pseudo solids. Pseudo ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಅನ್ನಂಗೆ. Pseudo solids are super cooled liquids. These are also known as what? Super cooled liquids. These are pseudo solids are supercooled liquids. These are the main differences between crystalline solid and amorphous solids. Understood? Sorry. We will have some important note regarding these amorphous solids. Okay, because we discussed different properties of amorphous solids through difference between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Now we will focus a little on the amorphous solids. It will help you both as well as KCET in case of NEET also. Listen carefully. I told you amorphous solids are called as what? Amorphous solids are called as supercooled liquids. Why? Because they are having tendency to flow, though they flow slowly. Actually they flow very slowly, but they are having tendency to what? Flow like a liquids. That's why they are known as supercooled liquids or pseudo solids. So how to then actually glass is a good example. Glass is a good example of amorphous solid. But how to identify whether glass flows or not? Actually that is a very slow process. How to identify, how to determine, means how to identify whether amorphous solids they are having tendency to flow or not. If you observe, I will give a good example. If you observe the window glass of old buildings. Which one? Window glass of old buildings. They appear thicker at the bottom. They appear what? Thicker at the bottom and thin at the top. So why? Why thick at the bottom and thin at the top? Listen carefully. I told you this is a window glass of old building. Old means how much old? How much old in the sense 100 years, 200 years like that. Not 1 year, 2 year. If you observe a window glass of 1 year, 2 year building, means you won't find this process. Around 100 years, 200 years back old buildings, if you observe, with the window glass of that old building appears actually thick at the bottom and thin at the top. ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ ದಪ್ಪ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಳ್ಳಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ರಿ, ಇದು ವಿಂಡೋ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅದ, ದಿನದೊಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಿನದೊಳಗೆ ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ರಾತ್ರಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ದಿನದೊಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಇದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನು ನನಗೆ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್. It is not possible. Because this is a very slow process. That's what I told you. 100 years, 200 years back window glass, if you observe, they appears what? Due to this flow, it becomes what? Thick at the bottom. ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ದಪ್ಪ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ತಳ್ಳಗಿರ್ತದೆ. Understood? That's why amorphous solids are known as what? Pseudo solid. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಗತ್ತಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್, ದೇ ವೋಂಟ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಮಾರ್ಫಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಇವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸೂಡೋ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್, ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಗತ್ತಲೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆದರೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಸೂಡೋ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕೂಲ್ಡ್ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, and one more note. This is the first note. I told you why amorphous solids are called as super cooled liquids or pseudo solids. And second note regarding this amorphous solid itself is a window glass of old buildings appears milky. If you observe the glasses of buses, if you observe clearly window glass of old buildings appear milky also, appear milky. Why? This is because, listen carefully, this is because of partial crystallization. This is because of partial crystallization. You know how the partial crystallization takes place. Complete crystallization will not occur, partial crystallization occurs. Actually what happens, glass heat during day. What happens, glasses they heat during day. ದಿನದೊಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವು. ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕೂಲ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ನೈಟ್. ನೈಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ, ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಹಗಲೊಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಹೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೀಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಡೇ, ಕೂಲ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ನೈಟ್. ದಿಸ್ process is called as, this is known as annealing process. Which process? Annealing process. This process is known as what? Annealing process. What is annealing? Heat during day, cool during night is called as annealing process. Due to annealing, there is a partial crystallization of glass. Due to this partial crystallization, the glass appears what? Milky. It appears what? Milky. This is regarding amorphous solids. And one more thing, amorphous, the name itself indicates, in Greek, amorpho means no form. Amorpho means no form. No form ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಚನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರಚನೆನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯುಕ್ಕ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ತರನಾದ ಸೇಪ್ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೋ ಫಾರ್ಮ್, amorphous. Understood? This is regarding what? Amorphous solid. Now this topic is mainly a solid state. In this topic we will concentrate more on crystalline solids, because amorphous solids they don't possess what? Regular shape. We will mainly concentrate on crystalline solids. Listen, to study crystalline solids, first we will know crystal lattice. We will know what? Crystal lattice. What is crystal lattice? Listen carefully. To explain this crystal lattice, what I will do, I will draw the diagram, okay, so that you can understand clearly. Drawing diagram becomes little bit complex, but if you try, you can draw this diagram very easily. Okay, now I'm sorry. Okay, this is a 3D structure. If you observe clearly, this is what crystal lattice. This is what crystal lattice. Listen carefully. If you observe over here 8 cubes are there. How many cubes are there? 8 cubes. This is first one. Okay, I marked over here. This is what? First crystal. I will just shade this part so that you can identify this part. This total is a crystal lattice. These points are known as lattice points. These points are known as what? Lattice points. These points are known as what? Lattice points. And this is known as this is the smallest portion of this unit cell. This is known as this is what actually smallest portion of crystal lattice. This is known as unit cell. What is this? Unit cell. That is a one unit cell. I think you are observing the diagram clearly. Okay, have a little concentration over here while observing the diagram. How many cubes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Below 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally how many? 8 unit cells are there in this crystal lattice. Actually, many more such a crystal lattices are there, but I have taken a portion of crystal lattice. In that portion of crystal lattice, the smallest part is known as what? Unit cell. And these points are known as what? Lattice points. What lattice points indicates? What are lattice points? Listen, before going to definition of crystal lattice, what are lattice points? Lattice points. Lattice points are the points. Lattice points are the points which indicates the position of constituent, which indicates the position of constituent particles. Means each lattice point, or this is also known as lattice site. Each lattice point indicates what? Position of constituent particles. Over here one constituent particle is there. That constituent particle may be atom, ion, or it may be molecule. We will discuss that later. But now, what is the lattice point? Lattice points are the points which indicates position of constituent particles. Okay. Now, what is the lattice? What is crystal lattice? How to define crystal lattice then? What is definition of crystal lattice? How to define the crystal lattice? Listen. What is crystal lattice then? Crystal lattice is the three-dimensional arrangement of arrangement of points showing the position of constituent particles. The position of constituent particles. Listen, what is the crystal lattice? Crystal lattice is a three-dimensional arrangement. Yes. If you observe this one, this is x-axis, this one is y-axis, and this one is z-axis. How many directions? Means how many dimensions? Three dimensions: x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Over here, if you observe, crystal lattice is a three-dimensional arrangement. That's what I have told you. This is a three-dimensional arrangement of points. I have arranged lattice points in how many dimensions? Three dimensions. Okay, what lattice points indicates? The lattice points indicates what? Position of constituent particles. This is what? Crystal lattice. Third one is unit cell. Three main things are there: definition of crystal lattice, lattice points, and unit cell. What is the unit cell then? What is a unit cell? I will rub this one. Listen, unit cell. Unit cell. What is unit cell? It is the smallest repeating unit of crystal lattice. What is unit cell? It is the smallest repeating unit of crystal lattice. You see, these unit cells are repeating again and again. What is unit cell? Unit cell is the smallest repeating units of crystal lattice, which when repeated in 3 dimension, 3D. How many dimension? X, y, z is. I told you. Which when repeated in 3 dimension to give crystal lattice. Means unit cell combined together to form what? Crystal lattice. Understood? We studied crystal lattice, definition of crystal lattice, lattice points, and unit cell. What is a crystal lattice? How will you, first one, what is lattice points? Lattice points are the points which indicates position of constituent particles. Understood? What is a crystal lattice? Crystal lattice is the arrangement of lattice points in a 3 dimension, showing the position of constituent particles. It shows what? Position of constituent particles. Next one, unit cell. What is unit cell? Unit cell is the smallest repeating unit of crystal lattice, which when repeated in 3 dimension to give what? Crystal lattice. This is regarding what? Crystal lattice, and a smallest portion of crystal lattice, that is unit cell. Over here, the structure of crystal lattice depends on what? The structure of crystal lattice depends on the structure of unit cell. Unit cell shape itself is the shape of the crystal lattice. Means we need to understand the unit cell clearly. Listen, unit cell, this is a very important, because this is the very important part of crystal lattice. It is described by, unit cell is described by 6 parameters. How many parameters? 6 parameters. What are those 6 parameters? 3 axial lengths. How many axial lengths? 3 axial lengths and 3 axial angles. These are 6 parameters of unit cell. If you take unit cell, I will explain. This is what smallest portion I will take from the crystal lattice. Okay. This is the smallest portion I have taken. Okay, over here, listen. Let us imagine this is a length A and this is the edge length B, means I can say it is axial length, and this one is a axial length C. Always the angle between B and C is known as a alpha. The angle between B and C is known as what? Alpha. And the angle between A and C is a beta. Listen carefully. And the angle between A and B is gamma. Means, that's what I told you. X, Y, Z. Okay. Listen carefully. Over here, the angle between, I will write always the angle between B and C is alpha. This is fixed, this will not change. Angle between A and C is beta, and angle between A and B is gamma. How many parameters? 3 axial lengths, A, B, C, these are lengths, axial lengths, and axial angles, alpha, beta, gamma. How many parameters totally? 6 parameters, 3 axial lengths, 3 axial angles. This is how, by using axial lengths and axial lengths, we can describe a unit cell. Okay. Now, types of unit cells. Types of unit cells. Types of unit cells. Types of unit cell. Listen, there are mainly, this type is based on position of constituent particles. First we should know this one. Why we have to differentiate, why we have to classify unit cells, based on what? Based on position of constituent particles. Based on position of constituent particles. Okay. Based on position of constituent particles, we can classify unit cells into 2 types. One is a primitive unit cell. What is that? Primitive unit cell. What is a primitive unit cell? Listen. In this, the constituent particles, present only at the corners, only at the corner of unit cell, only at the corner of unit cell. Means, if you take, this is a unit cell, okay, over here, if the constituent particles are present only at corner like this, only at corners. How many corners are there? 8 corners. If particles are present only at corners, this is known as primitive unit cell. What is this? Primitive unit cell. Understood? Okay. And the second one is centered unit cell. What is that? Centered unit cell. What is a centered unit cell? What do you mean by centered unit cell? In this unit cell, the constituent particles particles present position other than corner, position other than corner, along with those at corner, along with those at corners. Listen, what is centered unit cell? In this, the constituent particles present at position other than corner, ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ನರ್ದೊಳಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು 3 types. With this we will wrap up this class. Okay, but before going to complete this class, we will have look at this centered unit cell completely. What is centered unit cell? Listen carefully once again. What is centered unit cell? In this, the constituent particles present at position other than corner along with those at corner. Means ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ, ಯಾವ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ನ ನೋಡೋನು ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು. ಓಕೆ, ಲಿಸನ್ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ. If you observe over here, if you observe this unit cell, over here constituent particles are present at the corners, no question. But other than corner also particles are present. What are those positions? Particle may be present at face center. This is a one face, second face, third face, fourth face, front face, back face. How many faces are there for a unit cell? Let us imagine this room itself is a one unit cell. How many faces are there? This is a one face, that opposite two face, adjacent 3, 4, below 5, above 6. Like that I have. How many faces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, front 5, back 6. How many faces are there? 6 faces. Means particle present at what? Face center. That's why this unit cell is known as face centered cube. This is known as what? Face centered cube. FCC. What is this? FCC. What is FCC? What is face centered cube? It is centered. It is a in centered cube. Again, there are 3 types. First one is face centered cube. Listen carefully once again. Types of unit cell. In types of unit, there are 2 types. One is a primitive unit cell. Another one is a centered unit cell. Primitive unit cell means particles present only at corners. That is what primitive unit cell. Centered unit cell. What is centered unit cell? In this, the constituent particles present only at the corners along with those at what? Corner. Means position other than corner. Corner ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ನರ್ದೊಳಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾರ್ನರ್ದೊಳಗೂ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವೆ, ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತು ಫೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಅದಾವೆ. Means the particles present at position other than corner along with those at the corner. Understood? This face centered cube is a type of what? Centered unit cell. This is the first one. Second one, how to define this face centered cube? In this type of unit cell, the constituent particles are present at the face center. Which center? Face center. In this, the constituent particles are present at the face center along with those at the ಕಾರ್ನರ್ಸ್. ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಅದಾವು ಮತ್ತು ಫೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಅದಾವು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅಂತೀವಿ ಫೇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯೂಬ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಯು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ವಿಚ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಸೆಲ್. Okay, particles are present at the corners. Okay, over here one particle present at the body center. One is present at what? Body center. You observe the diagram clearly. You observe clearly so that you will come to know. One particle is present at what? Body center. Means this is known as body centered cube. What is this? body centered cube means BCC. What is this? BCC. What is the BCC? In this type of unit cell, the one constituent particle present at body center along with those at the corners. Even corner also contain particles, but along with corners, even the particle is present position other than corner. What position that is? That position is body center. Okay. Third type is, you observe and you identify the third type of central unit cell. I'm sorry. Third type of central unit cell. Listen, over here the particles are present at the corners. Particles are present at the corners. Along with that, the particles are present at any two opposite faces. Listen, I will indicate those particles by blue marker, blue ink. Listen, over here, any two opposite faces I am telling. This face is opposite to this one. Either you can choose this one, or you can front face, back face. This is known as end-centered unit cell. What is this? End-centered cube. What is this? End-centered cube. What is end-centered cube? Listen, in this type of unit cell, the constituent particles, two constituent particles are present at the opposite faces along with those at the corners. This is what end-centered. Understood? There are three types of centered unit cells. One is a face-centered, particles are present at the center of the face. Body-centered, the particles are present at the body center along with those at the corner. End-centered, end-centered means particles are present at the opposite faces along with those at the corners. Okay, this is regarding about solid state. With this we will wrap up this class. Remaining part we will observe in we will discuss in next class. Thank you.